The following program contains shockingly brilliant insights. If you suffer from a lack of dark sunglasses, Randall may not be right for you. Check with your optometrist.
Proclaiming the truth in the highways and byways of the world. Fighting for justice in the dark alleys of politics. Raising the voice of resistance to a fevered pitch. The man who creates social tension just by walking into the room, Randall Terry.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I am addicted to hate. You should be too, baby. Yeah. Because to fear the Lord is to hate evil. Welcome to today's program, friends. We are up to 8 cities that are going to hold an event about the Quran and the Hadith on October 6th and 7th. And a judge in Iran says that we should be killed and that our government should punish us. And do you have the heart, the soul, the stoutness of heart, and the concentration of mind to understand that we must stand against Sharia law now while we can do so with so little cost? Today's program brought to you in part by CARE, helping bring Sharia law to you 1 inch at a time. And by Saudi Arabia, helping fund terrorism and mosques with your petrodollars for over 50 years. I'm going to take a quick break and let my good friend Sir Reginald Bling have a crack at this, and then we're going to start.
Just turn the thing on. I got something to say. Now, when President Obama talked about putting a mosque at ground zero, I thought to myself, is the man on stupid pills? But I already knew the question, and I knew the answer. The answer is he is addicted to stupidity. But what's funny is to watch everybody else, Democrat, Republican, black, white, they are running away from this fool saying, I am not with him. Mr. President, if you want to be president of Jordan or of Syria, then get your hind end over there and run. But if you want to be president of the United States, learn to shut your mouth.
Welcome back to the program, friend. This is one of those shows where I'm not going to be playing around much because the content is so deadly serious. Let's begin. On October 6th, a group of us will gather at Ground Zero, New York City at 11 a.m. We've already sent out a press release to hundreds and hundreds of news outlets in New York City and to editors of news desks around the world. We will gather there and we will hold up large duplicated pages from the Quran, from the Hadith, and from Sharia law, and we will read them. And we will ask the imam of the Ground Zero proposed mosque if this is true Islam and if he supports these passages of Sharia law or if he will denounce them. We will also ask him to call upon the political and religious leaders of the Muslim world in Pakistan, Egypt, Saudi Arabia, Yemen, other places, and ask them to stop persecuting Christians in those areas. Christians whose only crime is that they proclaim that Jesus is the Son of God, that Muhammad is not the true prophet to bring us the knowledge of our Creator. The 8 cities are as follows that we are up to. Washington, D.C. on October 6th, as I said. And then, I apologize, New York City on October the 6th. And then on the 7th of October, Washington, D.C., Grand Rapids, Michigan, Granite City, Illinois, Cincinnati, Ohio, Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, Somerville, South Carolina, just outside of Charleston, and Utica, New York. I'm asking you to consider holding your own event in your own community. What we want you to do is do what we're doing. Hold up these signs, read them, and ask, are we supposed to show respect to a book that calls for us to be killed, to be crucified, to be beheaded? Are we supposed to surrender our First Amendment rights? Are we supposed to ditch the U.S. Constitution in favor of Sharia law? I have been getting a fairly substantial amount of mail, and I'm going to use a big portion of this program to discuss the things that I'm getting either in mail or the blogs and the news broadcasts and the news websites that are discussing what it is that we will be doing. It appears to me that most people simply do not want to stop, step back, and actually read the Quran for themselves, and more importantly, to begin to study the Hadith and the Sunnah, the words and the deeds of Muhammad that are not in the Quran, but are central to Sharia law. There's a lot of talk about Sharia law these days. That's good. People are starting to get a little bit alarmed. That's even better. My question for you is, what is Sharia law? Where does it come from? You realize that most people in America don't have a clue? Not a clue. Part of the reason that we are doing this is to get people familiar with the words and with the phrases that are commonplace in Islamic ideology. Most Americans have now heard of the Quran. That's good. Most Americans have not read the Quran. That's bad. Most Americans have heard of Sharia law. That's good. Most Americans wouldn't even have a clue where to find Sharia law. That's bad. And perhaps most importantly, we don't understand how Sharia law, Islamic law, came into being. And I want to have that discussion. I want to use this show to have that discussion. And I want people like you to go to government buildings, Council on American Islamic Relations, headquarters buildings in your state or in your area, CARE, and hold up these passages to begin the debate, to begin the dialogue, to begin the education process, to force the hand a little bit. Because if we are not willing to look and to learn and to read, then we will be the victims and, God forbid, the slaves of our own ignorance. When we come back from this break, I'm going to read to you some of the stuff that's out there to show you that it's not thinking. Some of it is just flat out idiocy. My fear is that it's incurable idiocy. I'll be right back.
There's a yard sale in the neighborhood. We need parking. Let's buy the yard.
Moments with Moses. You shall gather all its spoil into the midst of the open square, and burn the city and all its spoil with fire, as a whole burnt offering to the Lord your God.
Welcome back to the program, friend. There was a story that ran last week in an Iranian press that said that our government should hammer, basically, those people that are involved in burning Qurans. I'll be honest with you, it's unclear from the story if it included those of us who've torn pages from the Quran. The article simply wasn't clear, but what they did say, it appeared to say, was that those people who tore passages from the Quran should be executed, must be killed. Now, I want you to let the full weight of that sink in on you. This is a religion that our administration has told us is a peaceful religion. Do you believe that? Does any thinking person really believe that? Now, there are people, let me begin to go to some of these comments that I'm getting constantly. There are people that will say, read the book of Judges. Look at how God instructed the Jews to wipe people out. Point made. Listen closely to the difference between the Old Testament and Islam. With the genocide that God ordered of the Israelite army when they went into the Canaanite land, number one, It was ordered by God as a one-time event to purge the land of people who had committed crimes so grave that God said they must be destroyed. Just like he did with Sodom and Gomorrah, just like he did with the flood with Noah. It is consistent with other times where God literally, because the crimes were so heinous, we're talking about ongoing human sacrifice, ongoing child sacrifice, other things that I won't even say on this television show. These things were being practiced by the Canaanite nations, and God said the land will vomit them out. They must be destroyed. All right? So you folks over at People for the American Way and Muckraker and all that, listen to me. That was not the norm. All right? God was not encouraging the Jews to evangelize people to Judaism by wiping out the tribes. No, this was an act of judgment. Number two, there's nothing in the Old Testament that says, now we're always going to, the Jews are always going to just keep killing Canaanite nations forever and ever, amen. No. Number three, there's no part of the New Testament with the establishment of Christianity that calls for conversion by fear, threat of force, terrorism, and death. But that is the very stock and trade of Islamic conversion since the very days of Islam's founder, Muhammad. Muhammad said, Allah has put a sword in my hand to ensure that none but him are worshipped. Again and again, throughout the history of early Islam, right until this day, we see the use of force, terror, threats of death, beheadings, to strike fear in the hearts of other people that live, all of this being used to bring about conversion or to keep Muslims from converting to another religion. For those of you who want an intelligent, paced discussion with no exclamation marks, no adjectives, I invite you to go to terrycast.com. And at the top of the page, you'll see two links. One is about the words and deeds of Muhammad, and the other is about Sharia law. Both of these are research papers that I did in a master's program on international terrorism. So if you're looking for a diatribe or a polemic, you're not going to get one. You're going to be disappointed. This is very paced and slow, scholarly writing that is required for graduate studies. But if you are a thinking person, you're going to learn a lot. When we come back, I'm going to deal with some comments from a group called Real. And they're actually embarrassing themselves and they don't know it. And I've got a song for you, Sweet Muslim Crude. Don't go away.
Look, when you get as famous as me, you gotta do your own car work too, okay? Don't be alarmed, I'm a professional on a closed track.
An appeaser is one who feeds the crocodile, hoping it will eat him last. Sir Winston Churchill. Welcome back to the program, friend. There's a group out there called REAL, R-E-A-L, and it stands for Responsible for Equality and Liberty. I want to read to you from their website concerning our upcoming events in New York City and Washington, D.C. They start off saying, Responsible for Equality and Liberty supports our universal human rights. And they're quoting from the Declaration of Human Rights, which is a UN treaty and document. And it says, we reject hatred and reject the activities of those who seek to promote hatred towards identity groups and specific religions. And they go on and reject intolerance towards the Quran. They reject intolerance to the Quran. Now listen closely. The Quran, the Hadith, Sharia law specifically stand in total opposition to the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. They say that they want freedom of religion, freedom of conscience, and freedom of worship for all people. Well, to my friends at Real, don't you see? That's exactly what Sharia law denies. That is exactly what Muhammad forbids. Muhammad said, I have a sword in my hand to ensure that nobody but Allah is worshipped. The sword is obviously force, threat of death and was used to bring about death. Muhammad's own sword killed people. So you have become either willfully blind or intellectually schizophrenic. For you to say that you support the human rights of freedom of religion, freedom of conscience, and freedom of worship, and yet you condemn those of us that are exposing the parts of Islam that deny those very freedoms, then you're either not thinking people or you're simply terrified to say the truth. And that is that Islam stands in total opposition to what you say you believe in. Let's sing a song. Let's lighten it up a little bit. Sweet Muslim Crew. Have at it, Andy. Need some juice for your wheels. $4 a gallon, baby, keep it real. Fill her up, don't be sad. You made my cousin Akbar real glad. Made my cousin Akbar real glad. Keep buying sweet Muslim crude. Osama bin Laden wants to thank you, dude. The Taliban man needs guns and food, so buy sweet Arab crude, sweet Muslim crude. Hamas, Hezbollah, Mahmoud Ahmadinejad, PLO, watch him blow. Got the money for the job from a stop and go. Got the money from a stop and go in Idaho. Keep buying sweet Muslim crude. Osama bin Laden wants to thank you, dude. The Taliban man needs guns and food, so buy sweet Arab crude, sweet Muslim crude. Oh, don't drill, don't baby drill. Got some infidel Americans we wanna kill. Allah be praised. And got the money for my training from the USA. Got the money for my training from the USA. Body bags, who cares? Just keep saving those polar bears. House of Bush, House of Sod. Getting filthy rich from the hand of God. Got blood on your hands. Keep buying sweet Muslim crude. Osama bin Laden wants to thank you, dude. The Taliban man needs guns and food, so buy sweet Muslim crude, sweet, sweet Arab crude. It is maddening that our money is used to turn around and kill Americans. It makes me crazy. Drill in Anwar. Yes. Drill in the Gulf of Mexico. Yes. Drill, drill, drill for freedom's sake. For freedom's sake. I'm going to take a quick break. When we come back, some words from Samuel Adams. And again, I want to encourage you. Go to terrycast.com. Read those passages. And if you're interested in helping us with one of these events in your cities, you can learn how to do it there. Click on Hear Mohammed Speak. I'll be right back. Appoint a wicked man against him. Let an accuser bring him to trial. When he is tried, let him come forth guilty. Let his prayer be counted as sin. Samuel Adams said, "Our contest is not only whether we ourselves shall be free, but whether there shall be left to mankind an asylum on earth for civil and religious liberty." Ladies and gentlemen, do you realize that this is historically the most free nation in the history of the human race? Do you understand that that is directly tied to the Judeo-Christian ethics of liberty, of truth, and justice that come to us from the sacred scriptures, from the Judeo-Christian traditions, And do you understand that Sharia law, the Hadith, the Sunnah, that these stand in complete opposition to those freedoms? If we begin now to hold our tongue and to remain silent because of fear, we are paving the way for our own enslavement. We must not let this happen. We must not let our freedoms perish. God bless you.